So this is how to build a deck without playtesting. You can build a deck that works fine as is without playtesting, mainly because you have staples. You have cards you play all the time, so you already have the experience with them, so you don't have to playtest them to see if they work, because you know they work. Then the rest of your deck, which are the stuff that you put in to build a certain strategy, to play off a certain strategy, makes up the other half of the deck. So first step to building a deck in general is to choose a leader. Most players build a deck, then choose a leader. To each their own, but I prefer to build a deck around the leader, because to me the leader matters. It's like, as a deck builder, I'm more interested in building a deck that utilizes the leader, that focuses on the leader, that supports the leader, than to build a deck that is just by itself. No matter what leader you play, it works just by itself. I'm trying to make the leaders relevant, because they should be. They exist for a reason, so let's use them. So this is Super Baby 2 Alpha Revenge leader. On his awakened side, he has dual attack, and once per turn when you attack, draw a card. So that's really good. And then he has his front side ability. Choose one card from your life, add it to your hand, switch this card to active mode. So basically, by doing that, you essentially have a 10k dual attacker. So you attack, take a life, untap, attack again. So then powering him up and stuff like that is very useful. So again, focusing on the leader, you obviously play certain cards to support the leader. For example, Senzu Bean, 5k power for the duration of turn, so give it to him, and on his front side, on both attacks, he'll be 15k. Another way of supporting the leader would be Encouraging President Monarcha, gives the leader double strike for the duration of turn, so on both attacks, it'll have double strike, so it'll become essentially a quadruple strike, right? So then with these two cards alone, you make him a 15k double strike on each attack. That's good, right? So right off the bat, you'll want to play these. These cards obviously is proxying the deck for this leader specifically. So I already chose the leader, I already built a deck around the leader, so you get the idea. So let's start off with my staples. There's 22 cards here, because there's the 2 and then the 20 cards that I use. This mainly is used for if I'm trying to recycle. If I'm trying to reuse battle cards, I put him in the deck. But if I'm not trying to reuse battle cards in the deck, then I use 2 Awakening Barrier instead. So this is my inherent, 2 of in all my decks. Because I use 4 copies of everything, which is 48 cards, which leaves me with 2 slots left, and I fill it with Awakening Bark. So then, alright, the flash is gone. So then, I use this because of the getting back battle cards, so he recycles. You could do the 1-1 scenario where you have 1 of each, to each their own, but sometimes I just make things a little simpler. I go double, because sometimes I'll charge 1, so that way, and then I actually play the other one, so that's one of the reasons for having 2 of the same. But to each their own, so right off the bat, that would be in all my decks. So I already know how to use it, I already know its effectiveness, so I don't have to test it. I already tested plenty of times before, so I already know it works. 1-drop negate, being a battle card, I already know how to use it, it's already effective, so easy include. Same thing with this, easy include, I already know how to use it. Just like Champa, these are just pretty much the same, easy to use. One little tip is that always use this one first and save this one, because of the fact that it's a 2 cost. You can play it easier than this one, because this one is a 3 cost. So you want to combo this one and get the double strike more than this one, because if you get in a scenario where you need to play a battle card, he's the better choice because he's a 2-drop. It's about resource management. If you only have 2 energies, he's the better choice. You don't want to end up having this in your hand, not being able to play it to at least attack for game, right? So that's just a little tip from my personal experience. Bodyguard Logic, free play, which they made more of these types of cards, especially for different colors. 15k, always good. Blocker, definitely useful, because it's a defense, free block, right? Extra attacker, combo it. 2-card combo here, bang, go in. You can do this as soon as turn 1. So if your opponent goes first, plays that energy, then it's your turn. You draw, you play your energy. You play Bodyguard Legend because they have a battle card, attack with Bodyguard Legend, combo, 25k, double strike. It's too easy. Like, don't need much play testing to make that work. It just does. Same thing with Planet M2, inherently good. It's like a free reusable 5k combo because you're always weakening your opponent's leader by 5k when you tap it and attack. And then of course I normally use it in tandem with the leader, so I attack with the leader to my opponent's leader, weaken their leader. My leader is always stronger even if my opponent's leader is awakened. And since I'm aggro, I'm always making my opponent awaken before I do. And that's it. That's all the staple cards that I use, and as you can see, yeah, they're mostly red. I mean, they're all red except for the 2 blacks, but 22 cards that make up my decks. So most of my decks are 22%, 22 cards red. It's almost 50%. Almost 50% of my deck is red. And then whatever other colors I use or whatever other things I use. Sometimes colors don't matter if you're doing stuff like this. He's yellow, yes, but obviously you could pay any energy for the 10k boost. Since the leader is yellow, you'll trigger this. So you're using this kind of like a super combo. Bang, 10k, summon, free. Don't gotta pay no more than just one random energy. So you know it works. So you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to play test to figure out that it works. Senzu Bean. This requires a little more skill because of the whole, you gotta tap and untap. So if you have, energy, 1 blue, 1 yellow, you gotta play the yellow to, let's say, we go with the Champa's strategy. Let me just throw that. So if I use this for that, get the double strike in there, right, and then pay 1, do the Senzu Bean to boost it to make sure the attack goes through, untap the energy. Now I got the 2 energy back up. It did this thing. He does his ability. He still gets the boost from Senzu Bean, but the double strike is gone. And then, you still have the energy to go on. So you have to know what you're doing. Plus, when he has 2 or less life, he awakens. He untaps 2 energy and you draw 2 cards. So using that in tandem with Senzu Bean, it's like the leader is Senzu Bean, plus you're playing Senzu Bean. So it's like having 2 Senzu Beans. So you already know some of the stuff works. There's some things you want to tech and you want to try, especially if you don't have much experience using it. Like, let's say there's all training, you don't have a lot of experience, then you might want to try it out. That's where proxy and stuff like that comes in. It's important to note that making a deck without play testing it, the deck will work, obviously. Especially when you have the experience with these cards, the deck will work as you build it. The difference between building a deck without playtesting and playtesting, the thing about playtesting, you're not playtesting really the deck. You're playtesting your skills as a player versus certain matchups. So that's why you want to take your deck after you build it and play against somebody who's playing a deck or a couple decks, and go up against a couple different players. They're playing different strategies and stuff, so you can learn how to beat them, how to interact, how their deck works. You're trying to improve yourself as a player. So playtesting is for you, not for the deck. When it comes to building a deck, it's based off of whatever previous experience you already have. So if you already have experience with all these cards already, you don't need to playtest them. You just put them in the deck because you already know they work. You know what I mean? Obviously, just by seeing this card, Grade 8 Bardock Raiders War Cry, its condition is your leader has to be yellow for you to use it. You just combo it to get it to work. You already know it works. You don't have to play test it. You just got to grab 4 of them and put them in any deck where you have a yellow leader, and it automatically works. You don't have to play test it, but of course you're going to play test so you can enjoy how awesome it is. And it is awesome. Again, 1 blue, negate. 1 blue, negate. So it's simple. A lot of these cards, they're like clones of other cards. Like these blue cards right here, the Master Roshi and Boo, these are Whis cohesions, essentially. These are Dimension Magic, in a way. They don't have the sparking. That'd be nice. Where you could just spark in 5 and play it for free without paying. In the near future, that could be a thing. But for now, you're paying 1 blue to negate. 1 blue to negate, and then since I have 5k 0 cost for free, you can combo, so there's that. So you can potentially stop 2 attacks of a 1 energy, which is not too different from playing Weak Cohesion to negate an attack, untap an energy, and then use that energy to combo something, you know, like a 10k combo, or to play another Weak Cohesion. And then, as you can see, all these, you know, multiple copies. When you already know how to use one card, having multiple copies, it's going to work. You know, what I mean, they're going to work. So that's why you play multiple copies, so you can always see them. You can always use them because you know they just inherently work. And right there, I just built a deck that works without playtesting. Now the playtesting is for my own experience, my own lines of plays. But that's where you can play test without an opponent, because what I'm trying to say is building a deck and getting the deck to work without an opponent, because playtesting is you against other opponents, against other decks matchups. But that's for your own knowledge, own experience of playing your deck against other decks and vice versa. But to build a deck and to play a deck in general, you just need to know what the cards do, how to use the cards together, and go from there. And then you shuffle the deck and do test hands. Mulligan is very important because you have control of what you're going to do turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, so because you're planning it out based off of your hand. So you shuffle, right? You draw your first 6 cards, and then mulligan. Mulligan will determine the outcome of your turns, the outcome of the duel. Right off the bat, you already know which cards you want to keep. I want to keep, in this deck, obviously I always want to keep the Bardarks, because all I need is 2 energies to start getting advantage. Obviously my Bodyguard Allergic for free play. If my opponent's aggro, he is a 15k blocker, so there's that, but mainly he's a free battle card. I could always save that for later. I don't need that now. I'm not trying to defend. I am actually trying to take damage, so I save these negates and put them back, but I'm definitely trying to deal damage as soon as turn 1. So then these 3 go back in the deck. So now these are the cards I kept. 20k double strike, 10k double strike. Now of course I could use it with my leader. 15k free, or I can combo these 2, and obviously 25k double strike, 25 and 20k double strike, and then 2 attacks from that. This is 2, 4, 6 damage just off of this alone, and I already prepared. I'm already ready. I don't need a play test to know that's good. That's obviously good. That's obviously ready to roll. Let's see what I got. Oh yeah, and then shuffle the deck. Whoops. Yeah, shuffling decks. That's another thing. How you shuffle your deck is important, because that's a factor. That's why your deck is about 10% of a duel. Then you gotta take yourself, your opponent, randomness, shuffling and stuff like that. What they draw, what you draw, misplays, whether you play good, whether you play bad, misplays, environmental, like distractions. If a baby's crying and is distracting you, no matter how good you are, no matter how good your deck is, if you're distracted, you're not paying attention, your opponent can slip some things past you and take advantage. Obviously, you don't need multiples. So energy, just play. And already I have more than enough. The good thing is, I have my turn 1 play. So if my opponent goes first and I go second, boom, I already have, and they have a battle card. I already got the energy to start going off and doing some stuff. You know what I mean? Then turn 2, I can go further beyond. So I already got my turn 1, turn 2 strategy, depending if I go first or second. But either way, I still got cards that I can use, and I already know how to use these cards, so I don't have to, test them to see if they work. I know they work, because I put them in every deck, so they always work in every deck. Some new cards, like, something you want to test out, obviously that's a little different. You want to test out if a tech card, works or not. So like result of training, how many times will I actually be able to use this in a game? How useful can it be? From my experience, the way I play, this is not as useful and as effective. It's more energy than anything. But depending on my opponent and my matchup, I might be forced to be in a position where, let's say my opponent's stalling so much that it's like, well, you're stalling, you're not really attacking me, you're trying to prevent me from awakening. But since you stalled, you gave me enough time to play result of training. So this inherently, depending on the matchup, can can be useful. The way I play, this is not useful. This just becomes energy on average for like Senzubi and stuff, right? And the Encouraging Manaka. But depending on the matchup, this could be game changing. Oh, another thing is I don't side deck, so because of that, I got a main deck stuff. So you could be like, oh, well, this is good as a side deck option. Yes, but I don't side deck, therefore I have to main it. So it's inherently energy, but against a specific matchup, this can literally be MVP. But all in all, everything else inherently works regardless of the matchup. And that's the thing. You build a deck that just inherently works. Does not matter what deck you go up against, the deck will inherently work. When it comes to actually playing against certain decks, if certain decks have certain feature effects that prevent you playing certain cards, let's say you're, there's a card that says all your all your cards that cost 1 energy to combo now cost 2. That does change things up, but a card like that has to exist. So then you got to figure out a way to play around it. Maybe tech in some cards that can help you get rid of cards like that. Hopefully you already have cards already that you use in the main deck that can already get rid of cards. Or if you're a side deck player, which I'm not, but if you are, then your side deck should have cards that get rid of, those type of problematic stuff when you have those types of matchup. But on average, your deck should just inherently work because you're playing literally generic shit that you always use, that always work. And we're currently at set 8, and I've been playing this since set 1, so, I'm already used to Encouraging Present Manaka. I'm already used to, just playing a negate in general. I'm already used to these 1 energy 10k summon battle cards. Planet M2, obviously. Been playing for years. Bodyguard Legic. Yeah, because this game's been out for like 2-3 years now. So yeah, for a couple years now, I've been using these cards. None of these cards are new to me like that. The only thing I really don't play like that is Resolve Training. But other than that, everything else in here I have experience with. The only new thing would be like this. This is old, so that's nothing new. Playing 1 blue for a negate, nothing new. I used to play Whis Cohesion. I used to play the one drop negates. So all these battle cards, they're just upgrades of stuff that I already play, stuff I already have experience using. So nothing new. That's why it's easy to just for me to push out deck profiles left and right. So then it's more, for me, as a deck builder, it's more about the leader. The leader determines how I change up the basic core of my deck. Because half my deck is already going to be the staple red stuff. The other half is whatever helps the leader. Because everything else inherently is going to work in general. But the other half is how I'm going to support the leader in case there's a gimmick. Like when it comes to Boma, then I have to put red and yellow Saiyans and Earthlings in the deck so I can give them blocker. And if they have barrier or they're counter plays or something, then they double negate, because you negate, they summon. Now since they're on the field, they become blockers, then they can negate another attack. They can block another attack. Then this gives double strike to a battle card for the duration of the turn. So giving this to a dual attacker, something that can attack twice. So then it's just a matter of adding dual attackers. Right now, this deck doesn't have a dual attacker. Yeah, because it doesn't have Digging Deep Vegeta in it. But if I had Digging Deep Vegeta, then obviously this is the leader for it. Digging Deep works with this leader. And this uses red and yellow. There's a considerable amount of red in here, so I could use this just as a little quick draw engine. This could be good for like overrun, where you pitch red or yellow cards to draw, filling up your graveyard, filling up your hand, and then start overrunning. It just depends how you want to use it. But again, making sure that you build the deck around the leader, so that way the leader supports the deck supports the leader, and you get stuff out of it. To each their own. You can play whatever you want. Your whole strategy could just be all main deck. Whatever you put in your main deck is your main way of playing and winning, and the leader is just icing on the cake. It's just there as a tech card, because it might have an ability that might be useful, like, oh, every time this attacks, it kills a battle card 4 or less. Then, the leader becomes a tech card. That's up to you. But I like to focus as it's my main attacker. It's my Vanguard, because this game is based off of Cardfight Vanguard and Duel Masters. There's a lot of stuff in this game that copies from that, and of course magic. There's certain effects, certain keywords that Magic had, that this game now has, and certain strategies. And since I played all those games,